Welcome to Tackle the Board, Week 3 NFL. Another great week for us over here. We were 8-3 the NFL Week 2. A great week for us. Myself 4-1 on the week, just losing that nail biter with New England and Cam Newton getting stuffed there. And for the people anyway, when we do agree, it is 3-1. Thank you for listening to Tackle the Board. My name is ChrisEbomb. You can find me at ChrisEbomb on Twitter and ChrisEbomb on Instagram. And my co-host, if you will, Russ Reese. You can find him at VegasLineReader. Russ, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. I told you I was coming back with vengeance. I mean, I went 4-2, not as good as you. You went 4-1. But we did get screwed in some of our losses. You had the Patriots. Belichick, I don't know what he was doing. He went for 2 early in that game when they could have just kicked the extra point. I had a feeling that game was going to be like sitting on a 4-point game. Something crazy was going to happen, of course, like that. I had the Browns, of course, that game. Baker, they're about to go up big, like 17 points. Baker throws a deep pass, interception, and just changed. And Burrow was 5 for 5 on 4th downs. I was like, you got to be kidding me. This guy's 100%. I haven't seen that in a long time. 5 for 5 on 4th down. So, I mean, sometimes you could have the right picks, and sometimes you're just going to get screwed in the games. There's nothing you can do, but still going 8-3, getting screwed on games. There's nothing wrong with that. So,
yeah, absolutely not.
Definitely confident again this week that we're going to make these guys some money. So, we can start out and jump into the games. You want me to go first?
Yeah, let's get started.
All right, sounds good. I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings. Tennessee Titans at Minnesota Vikings plus 2.5. I'm taking the Vikings at plus 2.5. Kirk Cousins in the last 5 years with the Vikings and the Redskins has never lost 3 games in a row. I got another stat for you. Mike Zimmer is also 11-0 at home after a straight-up loss. Talking about the Titans, they haven't really impressed me. They beat the Broncos in week 1 by 2 points, and the Broncos were beat up on defense. And then week 2, they beat the Jaguars by 3 points just last week. So a couple of games, the Titans just haven't impressed me, and their wide receivers were banged up last week. We'll see what happens. I don't know the injury report. It's early in the week right now, but definitely confident in the Vikings. I just want to add something. I put together something I saw the last 2 years. Teams projected before the season 7 wins or more before the season starts. When they are winless in week 3, if they're a pick'em or an underdog, they're actually 7-1 against the spread the last 2 years. And the only loss was actually the Raiders 2 years ago against the Dolphins. I was watching that game. They actually threw an interception in the end zone. It was actually a tight game. So I'm trusting dogs in these situations. My good friend here, Chris, actually disagrees with me, so this is going to be a disagreement game. Throw it back to you because you like the Titans in this one.
Yeah, I think the Vikings just haven't really shown a whole lot, especially defensively. They're ranked 19th with their pass defense, 23rd with their rush defense. This isn't the typical Vikings defense that has been playing really well. Their last 2 games, they've given up 43 points, 28 points. That's a big troublesome worry for Mike Zimmer offense. In this kind of matchup, the Titans and the Vikings, the favorite is 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 meetings. So that's shown that the team that has been favored in this game has also covered in this game. Last time this was like a -3 game for Tennessee. They won this game at home 30-17. I know it was a while ago, but just going on past history of lines that I like to look at now that they're favored by 2.5 on the road. I love them in this spot. I just think Tannehill is playing out of his mind right now, especially with how bad the corners with the Vikings have been and getting diced up left and right. I think there's a persona of the Vikings still having a really good defense because they typically do have a good defense, but it's a lot of younger guys. They really haven't been playing that well. Tennessee's been unreal with the pass game. Their run game's been a little slow right now, but Tractor Cito, he is a guy that takes some time during the season to build his way up. As people don't want to hit later on in the season, you see him pounding through all the way through. So I just like the Titans here. They're just playing really well right now. I know that the Vikings are in a desperation situation, but I just feel that Tennessee here is the right team here. But to win by a field goal, it might kind of look like a little bit like a trap. But the NFL, there's games like this all the time. In college football, I feel like these kind of lines are more of a trap-like game. So give me the Titans. Tannehill's playing out of his mind. He's showing that he's progressing in the right direction, especially with a good run game, and their defense has been playing solid. So -2.5 Titans. I'm all over it.
Just curious question. I know I know you're in a super contest, so I'm just curious if that does go to -3. You still confident in the Titans? You going to stick with that game, or do you like it? Do you really like it at that 2.5?
Well, in the super contest, it's always with a hook, so it's either going to be 2.5 or 3.5.
Ah, okay, gotcha.
So I would not be too crazy about the 3.5, but
I doubt it wouldn't go that high. I don't see it going to 3.5, so that's fine. Yeah, I see it sitting at 2.5 probably.
Yeah, so I think I'll find out on Wednesday to see what the lines are for the DraftKings Super Pool contest. And I think if it does go 3.5, I don't think it will, but I think I still would take it just because I think they're just playing so much better than the Vikings right now. Cousins has been atrocious. I mean, he's been getting some garbage yards at the end of the day. Well, like at the end of the game, and it's just really he just had. And I like Cousins, but he's been absolutely terrible. I mean, Thielen's getting his. But that's about it. The Diggs missing is huge for them. I can't believe how bad this has been for them. So
yeah,
the -2.5. I would still take them -3.5 with my contest, but
that's the thing.
I wouldn't be crazy about it. But
yeah, I don't really overact now since a couple of years ago when they started doing the long extra points now, and there's been so many missed extra points. People going for 2. So games used to be decided by 3 points a lot. It seems like now you're getting these crazy scores where buying a hook on a -3 just isn't worth it going down to 2.5. You might as well, you could stick at that number at 3 just for the team to win, because these teams aren't just winning by a field goal. It used to be a statistic like 20 to 25% of the games were decided by 3 points or something like that. It used to be crazy, but things are changing nowadays.
no, that's a very good point that you brought up with the long extra point, because you typically are right about that. It used to be like that, but it's a new era. Guys are going for 2. Guys are going for 4th downs more. It's a little bit crazier. Guys' jobs aren't as much on the line. They just blame everything on analytics, and they're just like, well, the numbers I got told me to go for it on 4th and 12, and you're like, all right, whatever. So, no, but that's a very good point that you brought up. But not most games are settled by 3 points anymore. So that's an old line. So that's good.
All right, awesome. I'll jump into the next game. It's going to be the Houston Texans. I'm going to take +4 at the Steelers. And this situation actually matches what I was talking about earlier with the Vikings game. It's another team that was projected 7 wins or more, 7-1 against the spread in these situations. Texans are starting out. I went to got to give them a little bit of a break as they faced the Ravens and the Chiefs. Playing the 2 best teams in NFL, that isn't easy. I mean, they were supposed to lose by double digits to these teams. The Texans aren't a crazy team that improved or anything. They took a slight step back, but they can play with the Steelers. The Steelers didn't impress me the first 2 games. They faced the Giants and the Broncos the last 2 weeks. Those were close games. They ended up winning by 10 against the Giants, but that wasn't. They were in that game for a little while. That's how the Steelers play. They let teams just play with you. So I can see the Texans keeping this close easily. Deshaun Watson he's very good as an underdog. He was actually 12-6 as an underdog, but he actually is 12-8 as an underdog since he lost the first 2 weeks of the season. But facing a Steelers team that isn't high-power offense like the Chiefs or the Ravens, I see the Texans easily keeping this close in a low-scoring game. So I'm going to take the Texans +4 here.
So I was looking at the injury report, and I'm looking at David Johnson and Will Fuller being questionable. Both David Johnson questionable with an ankle injury, and Will Fuller, no shocker, questionable with the hamstring like he usually has been. Have you heard anything about these injuries at all?
That's why I haven't heard anything major. I have a feeling that these guys are going to play. I would think that the line's going to be – usually you can tell with the line would be a little higher. I would say 5 or 6 when you have some major guys on the offense not playing. I mean, not going up 2 points, but probably go up to 5. I could see this. the odds makers know what's going on. They know who's injured, who's not. They usually have these lines accurate for knowing who's playing and who isn't playing. So I'm definitely going to stick with that Texans, even if it does go up a point in that game. And I'm still not even worried about one of those guys even missing. The Steelers, they're going to play that low-scoring kind of game, so I'm not concerned. Deshaun Watson's going to do a lot of work in this game, so I can see him putting up the points for these guys.
Well, I hope you can put up the points for you because I know that Texans defense isn't all that great, but I do have a stat. I feel like that will be good for the Texans. They're 8-1 against the spread in their last 9 games, following a double-digit loss at home. So with that kind of stat, maybe that could be something that will benefit you in this game because I'm just not sure how their defense is going to be per se because everyone's been scoring them at will. But we'll see what happens. I'm definitely pulling for you there.
No. So we'll shoot it back to you. You got the Bengals +6 at the Eagles.
Yes. So this is kind of a tale of two tapes over here. The Eagles, kind of a team that people were thinking were going to play well, minus you, of course. You were definitely down on the Eagles this year. This line is at 6 right now. Eagles right now are ranked worse offensively, DVOA, based on Football Outsiders. And DVOA, what that means is that it's defensive adjusted value over average. This means that the team's efficiency by comparing success on every single play to a large average. So this stat pretty much talks about every play, how successful they are, and the Eagles are ranked worse in the entire NFL based on successful plays on offense, which is really sad because you see Wentz fumbling like crazy, throwing picks, just being inaccurate constantly. And Miles Sanders, I don't believe, could really fill this load for the most part. The Eagles just been really bad, and their defense hasn't been all that great either. This team is going in the wrong direction at this point, sad to say, even though I'm a big Eagles fan. The Bengals, I'm actually kind of impressed with what they've been doing right now. Cincy is 8-1 as a road dog, greater than 2 points versus an opponent off back-to-back straight-up losses. Cincy's 5-0 in their last 5 meetings against the Eagles, against the spread. So they've done pretty well against the Eagles as far as the number goes. Eagles, on the other hand, they're 1-10 against the spread in the last 11 games following a double-digit loss at home. They've been known to not be able to bounce back after getting smacked in the mouth at home the next game. So this is a game that I feel like Cincy could keep close with. I actually like what Burrow's been doing, even on the short week. He had 300 some yards passing, and he had 3 TDs, no picks. I thought he was going to have a terrible game on a short week on a Thursday night, and he proved me wrong. He played unbelievable, and now that he's got more time to prepare against his Eagles defense, I know Cincy's O-line isn't that great, but he gets the ball out real quick, and you also have to worry about his legs. I mean, he can run for first downs. If you're going to leave him on an island just by himself, everyone's getting covered, he'll run for a first down. I really like what I see from Burrow. That could be mixed reviews based on his completion percentage. But the +6 is way too many points for this game, and the Eagles aren't blowing teams out. This is not going to happen right here, right now. Maybe down the road as they get their stuff together, but right now, I don't see them being any team by more than 7 points, even like a Dolphins or anybody like that. So give me the +6 with the Bungles. They look like they're playing well for their coach. They don't have the most talent in the world, but the Eagles have just been god-awful on offense, and their defense hasn't been great either. Their run defense has been good, but I don't think that's too much of an issue. If Burrow is going to be able to do what he wants to do out there, he's just going to get the ball out quick and get first downs constantly. So +6, Bengals.
Yeah, the Eagles actually, they only had there was 0 sacks against them last week, and they still lost the game. So the offensive line did their job for Wentz, and he still was missing all his targets. So these guys, again, are a mess. This game actually just missed my board taking the Bengals. I just know that Carson Wentz is going to be fired up to play, but again, I don't trust the Eagles. I'm not betting against them every week, so it's just a game I just avoided this week. But if I were to pick a side, I would definitely be on the Bengals. So we'll jump into the next game. We got the Detroit Lions +5.5 at the Cardinals. Here's another 0-2 team. I'm actually excited because Galladay is going to be back for the Lions this week, so they'll actually get their offense together. The Lions were also embarrassed. I love to when a team is embarrassed by 21 points or more. They usually come back and play a lot better. The Lions, in that game, I was actually frustrated because I had the Lions last week. They were running the ball on the Packers. They had 16 rushes in the first half. They were actually winning by double digits, and then the Packers were up 3 at halftime. They ended up running the ball 5 times in the second half. It was just terrible coaching. You can't stop. They went down 10 points, and then they just stopped running the ball. And that's where it turned into the Packers feeding right into them. 2 great pass rushers, and then they end up forcing Stafford into a pick 6. Changed that game from a 10-point game, hoping to get back toward covers the whole way, and then just turns into a 17-point lead. It was a disaster after that happened, basically. So that's a game I got my eye on. Thing about the Cardinals defense, they haven't been tested yet. I see this over-under is at 54.5, which tells me that the Lions are going to be able to score in this game. The Cardinals defense faced the 49ers, who didn't have their center and their top wide receivers. And then they also faced the Redskins, who only averaged probably 17 to 20 points a game. So not impressed with who they faced. They're going to face Stafford with all his guys at offense. So I do like the Lions here. I'm getting 5.5. This over-under is very high. I can see this being a high-scoring game, 30 to 27. The Cardinals pull it out, but I think it's going to be close. And these guys actually faced off last year where it was actually the Lions actually blew another large lead. I think it was the first game of the season, and it ended up being a tie game. So I see a shootout here, and I'm going to take the Lions plus 5.5. You actually disagree with me on this game. You have the Cardinals. So tell me about your pick there.
Yeah, this is actually my favorite game on the board. I absolutely love the Cardinals at minus 5.5. A little bit about some betting stats for you guys to sway my way over here. Kingsbury's 5-1 versus opponents off back-to-back straight-up losses. He beats up on the really bad teams. Lions are 1-7 in the last 8 meetings in Arizona. They haven't fared well when they've traveled west against them. The home team is 12-2 against the spread in the last 14 games. The Lions are 2-5 in their last 7 meetings. They don't cover. They do a bad job going out west. The Cards are 3-0-2 against the spread in their last 5 games after following against the spread win. And the Lions are 0-5 against the spread in their last 5 games as a road underdog. They've proven that they can't cover as a road underdog. Patricia, these guys really aren't playing for him. No one ever speaks highly of him. I think he's lost the locker room. This is very contagious. They just don't play well. And Patricia's 1-6 off straight up against the spread loss versus an opponent off a home game. Patricia is 1-5 off a division loss versus an opponent that's greater than 500 in their record. And the Lions are 0-11 after allowing greater than 35 points off versus an opponent off of a straight up win. And the Lions defense have given up 27 points and 42 points their last games. People are running on them at will, throwing them at will. The Slay transaction must have really hurt them more than I thought it actually would, but it is. And they're playing really well for Kingsbury. I just know how the Lions are going to be able to contain Kyler Murray. He runs really well. He throws well. Hopkins is a beast. And Kenyon Drake should have a field day as well. I just don't think they can get close with him in a shootout. I think Arizona's D's good enough to keep him held in at least in like the low 20s for the most part. And I see Arizona scoring in the 30s, like mid 30s. I can see like a 35-20 game, just getting way out of hand. Mm-hmm. And just maybe getting a garbage touchdown and get them up to 20. Hopefully not the other way of getting the backdoor cover. But I just love what Arizona's doing here. This is a good spot for them to be 3-0. Not only with that, but just covering as well. They're clicking at a really good point. Just at this point of the season that people didn't really think too much about them. I mean, they were kind of like the sexy team kind of pick a little bit by some people. I love them with their over-under. That's my favorite over-under of the season. I have a good shot at them being 3-0. and that's amazing. Like that should almost lock up my over on the season total, my favorite season total of the year. So give me the Cards minus 5.5. This offense is explosive. Kyler Murray's been tearing up. I like Kingsbury's play calling a lot. He gets a lot of wide open plays for Murray, and Murray runs wild too. He's very small. He just squeaks through everything. He's very hard to defend. He's way better than Mayfield could ever be. He's just so elusive. And give me the 5.5. If I can win by 6 in this game, I have no problem with that.
And that's a game where we actually disagree on. So, but I think it's going to be one of those crazy type of games like the Cowboys and Falcons last week. I think this is the easiest over on the board this week because the Lions aren't going to be able to stop them. And I think the Lions are going to get a good enough amount of points in this game. I could even see both teams scoring in the 30s easily in this contest. So I would lean over if people are looking at over-unders here. And I usually don't go overs, but this seems like a game there.
Yeah. I can see Arizona for sure putting up 40 points this game. This is the offense is so explosive, and Detroit's defense is so bad. I just even think if Arizona's defense isn't the best that day, I think them scoring 40 points should cover 5.5 with ease.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm going to jump into the next one. I got the Cowboys plus 4.5 at the Seahawks, and I'm taking the Cowboys here. I'm taking dogs all week here. So everyone saw the performance last week. I like going by what people see last week, being fooled by what they see. So Russell Wilson, I had a bunch of statistics for that showing he actually dominates in primetime games, but I just wasn't going to take him last week. But everyone saw him. What he had 5 touchdowns last week. They're facing the Cowboys, so actually their defense is just banged up. That's the only reason why this spread is at 4.5. But the Seahawks defense, I just do not trust. This is another over-under that's in the 50s. High-scoring game I see again. The Seahawks defense, they gave up 23 points to the Patriots. They gave up 25 points to the Falcons. This is a much better offense in the Cowboys. These guys are easily going to put up 30 points. I'm not worried. Seahawks, they rank dead last in passing yards allowed. They're giving up 831 yards in those 2 games. So them as a favorite at 4.5, that's just too many points to give the Cowboys. The Cowboys didn't even play well last week, and they still came back, dropped 40 points, and won that game. So I think they're going to get some momentum built off of that game since they looked ugly to start last game. And they looked ugly to start the first game, too, and they still played the Rams close. They lost by 3 points. So I see them playing very well. The Seahawks, I don't see them really motivated for this game. They started 2-0. I think the Cowboys are going to want this game a lot more also. So give me the Cowboys at plus 4.5 here.
Yeah, well, I agree with you there. The public perception we talked about before, lines will be made based on last week's perception, and this is the line just begging you to take the Seattle Seahawks. As far as this matchup goes, in past history with the Cowboys and the Seahawks, the underdog is 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 meetings. So that kind of line is in your favor right there. And I could definitely see the Cowboys win this game more. Russell Wilson is the best player in football right now. I feel like he's just unreal. He's playing unbelievable. So I just don't like personally going against Russell Wilson. But I think if you're going to go against Russell Wilson at any time right now, I think especially after emotional primetime game where you're getting more than a field goal with a team that could possibly even pull off a win against Seattle if everything's clicking correctly. And everyone's healthy on offense, I believe, with the Cowboys. So I can definitely see where you're coming with this. I think there's a lot of value with the Cowboys. So at 4.5, I can definitely see that.
No. So we'll jump into your game. You have your last one here is the Bucks -6 at the Broncos.
Yeah, so it's a big line to lay going cross country, but Tampa Bay is starting to get things rolling now. They're laying 6 points now on the road at Denver. If you saw last week, I loved Denver last week. They were my favorite play on the board against the Steelers, and even with a backup QB, we still covered that game. It was pretty crazy last week. I covered 2 games, 49ers and Denver, with backup quarterbacks in the second half. So we were way on top of things with that. So we could even still cover with a backup QB in both games. So I feel like I've been on point with a lot of these games for the most part. But Denver now, they just signed Blake Bortles for a 1-year deal. It's a desperation mode at this point for them because they really don't like Driscoll that much. And for having him for a whole game with Tom Brady, getting things rolling now with Mike Evans in the gang. I know Denver's defense is very good, but I just don't know how they're going to really score. And Sutton now is going to be out for the year, one of their best wide receivers. That's going to really hurt their pass game, not only with their QB, but with their top wide receiver. I know they got Jerry Jeudy. They're probably going to have to look for him now more, but they might lean more on the run game now. And Tampa Bay's run defense is still solid. I haven't checked their numbers recently because it's only been a couple of weeks, but their run defense has been good before with their linebackers and their D-line. So give me the -6. I still think they win this game by a touchdown. It's tough to lay this on a West Coast game, but I think this is where Tampa Bay is going to really start churning a little bit, and I think they can win this by a touchdown. I know they can win this by a touchdown, so give me Tampa Bay with Tom Brady and the gang -6.
Yeah, I like that. And Bridgewater almost got a backdoor last week, but he's an athletic quarterback, could almost pull off that backdoor. I don't see any kind of backdoor covering going on with Driscoll. So they're going to shut down the run game as well. The Bucs are fast. Their linebackers are fast. It's probably going to be a domination in that game. So I could definitely see the Bucs winning that easily and building some more momentum. Now they didn't even have Godwin back. They didn't even have Godwin last week. So hopefully he was in concussion protocol. So he should be back and have all his weapons, which that might even come on my board, taking the Bucs there. That's a good pick. That was your last pick. I'll go to my last one here. It's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs +3.5. I got them at Baltimore Ravens. So we got the Ravens team. They dominated their competition. They killed the Browns. They killed the Texans. That's what everybody's seeing. The public also saw the Chiefs last week. They played an overtime game to the Chargers, but everyone thinks they look bad. But the Chargers actually have a good defense, and it was a division game. That was a big game for both teams. So the Chargers, that's why they played them tough. So I'm going to give you some stats here. Mahomes, he's basically not getting any respect here, and I actually love that he's not getting any respect. He is 5-0-1 as an underdog in his career. He's never lost against the spread. In those 6 games that he's been an underdog, he's averaging 36.5 points a game. So, yes, I'm going to take those points all day long.
Man, that's serious.
That's all I need right there.
That's pretty crazy. I got a KC trend for you that might be real good for your betting pleasure over here. The Chiefs are 4-0-1 against the spread in their last 5 Monday night games. So they have shown up for Monday night games, and I would assume most of those games they were either pretty big favorites or favorites in general. So just even getting points with them on Monday night, it seems like a really good play. I mean, I just know people are going to love betting this game, and I think they should listen to you on this game because I know everyone's going to want to either try and catch up if they don't listen to our plays, or they're just looking to make that extra money because it's the only game in town on Monday. So I think they should definitely jump on you with 3.5 with the Chiefs.
Yeah, and there's even a little discrepancy on that 5-0-1. They really are 6-0, but there was a game. I forget if it was a year or two ago when they played the Rams and they got in that 54-51 type of game. Some people had the spread at 3. Some people had the spread at 3.5. So it really was at 3.5 where he could be 6-0. But in all those games, they're very close. He doesn't lose by more than 4 points in a game. If he's down 10, do I think Mahomes is going to come get a touchdown at the end of the game? Easily. He doesn't want to be an underdog. He was an underdog also to Tom Brady in a couple of those games, and he beat Tom Brady. So he knows when to come out and play, and I can see him easily putting up a bunch of points in this game.
All right, that sounds good. So we broke down week 3. Russ and I disagreed on a couple games, but that's good. You got good perspective on both sides of the games, whether you want to go on Russ's side or my side. Either way, it's good. So And we had some good picks besides that. Overall, we had a great week last week. We had different games across the board, which is real shocking. Russ and I, we don't talk about what games we're going to take until we get right on, because we want to see where everything's at. We had 10 games last week that pretty much just were complete opposites, and we did amazing with them. So if you guys listen,
8-3, yep, still won 8-3, and we didn't pick any games alike, which is pretty impressive.
so we covered the board 8-3, and that says a lot. So I think that shows our versatility when it comes to the whole playing card. You could have parlayed a bunch of our plays and possibly hit with them as well. And we got some plays this week. We disagreed on a couple, but you could go either way with them. And yeah, thank you for listening. Please subscribe. It's on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Very important. We want to get our viewership up, and make sure you guys don't miss when we put out these videos. So if you have a game that you like, or you want to get a good idea of what we like, so you can ride with us on these picks, we love it. We do this for free, and we want to get out the info for the people. And if you don't know, my Twitter handle is ChrisEbomb, at ChrisEbomb on Twitter, and Euksuzian on Instagram. And you can find our page at Tackle the Board. And Russ, where can they find you at?
And they can find me at VegasLineReader. I'm doing college football now. I had a big pick last weekend, went on NC State. All they got to do is, even baseball, they can get a free pick every day. All they got to do is text the word WIN to 702-867-0559. And guys, just subscribe to our picks. All you got to do is click the subscribe button on YouTube. You'll see our posts. I'll put short videos of our picks on Twitter. Make sure you guys like and retweet those. Get the word out to more sports bettors so some more guys can make easy money. We've had a winning record in these first 2 weeks, and I'm very confident that we're going to make you guys money throughout the season. But other than that, that should close out the show, and let's make some easy money, guys, and continue this riding into next week.
Let's go.